That's a unfortunate, I should say, comment that I am always having to address time and time again. In fact, it's something that has been asked, and quite frankly, people have placed blame, if you will, on China over the course of the last 20 years. I don't think it's necessarily an issue of good or bad. I don't think there's blame or what have you. I think there is a certain reality. And one of the, I think, key attributes that I try to bring to this sort of commentary is, a lot of this narrowly viewed points are not necessarily wrong, but there's more to exactly what has transpired, what's been going on. And so-called IP theft is probably one of the best examples of this. So let me start with a couple things. Number one, again, IP theft is a question or something that the Chinese have been accused of for decades. If in fact it's been ongoing for that long, you would think that the companies themselves that are claiming that their IP is being stolen, well, at some point, if you think it's being stolen, then why are you giving it in the first place? The other point that I would bring up is, you'll see a lot of commentary that China has this issue of they force technology transfers, meaning if a foreign company wants to come and operate in China, they need to bring their technology to do so. That, quite frankly, is not accurate. That's not to say foreign companies don't bring in a lot of their technology. They do, but it's not necessarily forced. So you have this situation where technology is being brought in, and without question, the Chinese are finding ways to be able to take some of that technology and use it for their own purposes. Now, okay, that seems like I have just said, China does IP theft. If you want to make it that specific, sure, you can say it's that way. But there is also a degree of trying to understand the environment that we're dealing with. And one of the, I think, really fascinating examples that I try to bring about with this is look at a country like the United States. When the United States first became a country 250 odd years ago, what was fascinating was the very first Secretary of Treasury, very famous man named Alexander Hamilton. He put into place a government policy that was called the manufacturer's policy. And essentially this was a government policy that was seeking to be able to bring manufacturing into the United States and build a manufacturing base. Sounds very similar to China over the last 30 years. And within that policy, Alexander Hamilton literally said, we will pay bounties to any organization that is able to bring in technology from other countries. And by other countries, predominantly what Hamilton meant was the UK. And what's fascinating is the United Kingdom and America at that point in time, this is around 1791, clearly the UK was the economic powerhouse of the world, and the United States looked to try and, do their own IP theft. It doesn't necessarily, I think, matter over time. I think what is more important is exactly how the relationship goes within those two countries over that period of time. So to be able to say that China has IP theft is one thing. To be able to blame China, I think, is not helpful. And I think it also ignores how other countries throughout their development process have done the same thing over the course of their evolution and their economic growth cycles as well. But this will be, I believe, an unfortunate sticking point between the United States and China. My hope is to be able to expand that conversation, to be able to provide certain context, and again, to sort of address how these are differences between both economic periods and where China is a developing market versus the United States being a developed market.